Well, good morning there. We're back. Back with the good old laser stream. Get a window set up. And let's go. So not all this stuff. We don't need that. We don't need this here. We need this. Because I figured out yesterday that we got all the way to printing fonts. And that's kind of an interesting problem here, because these shouldn't be in cache, is the issue. So I do have them here, but these are not things that I want to have in the public, well, in the public cache. The templates are kind of fine, I think, for now, although we might just have ourselves a persistence worker that prints out the cache to the file. Let's first test when we get to how we make this one. So this one should be in fonts and then public. Yeah, so this is copy from first pre-reg, go in there. And then we want to know what happens here. Because my fear is that we're handling binary data in the cache, and that's, ooh. We don't want to do that. Also, why are we putting it in there in the first place, if we do that? Because maybe we don't. But we are trying to have this. And let's see. We are not getting there. Then how is this done? Because this is done, and it should run through this. Right off the bat, that's an interesting problem that I thought was much more straightforward, but apparently it isn't. Good morning. That's good. It's better to get up at 5 than still be awake at 5. Definitely. Because the former is the sign of a life that is in control, and the latter is the sign of a life that is out of control. And if there's one thing we want to be, it's in control of our own lives, I guess. I mean, who should be in control of your life, right? You can argue that staying up late is also being in control. But not really. Not really. You're probably fooling yourself at that point, huh? So, copy from first prereq. Why are we not getting here? Yeah, I know. But that's also where you have to force yourself for a while to be able to get up at... I got up at 4 a.m. It took me an hour to get to work. But it's just the room over. I spent some time in the bathroom going through Twitter, which is also not being in control. That's Elon being in control. Yeah, you also have to ensure that you get out during the day, and you probably don't need exercise, but you need to at least move around a little bit and get some amount of sunlight. Because if you always stay inside, your circadian rhythm kind of never really kicks in, and then if you want to get to sleep, your body just doesn't know what to do. That's not good. Why didn't this trigger? Oh, I copied the thing in there. There's not an actual path. Yeah. It's probably also like if you, as your name suggests, are in one of the Nordic countries, you probably have a hard time with this, because that means you get less sunlight. Although in the summer it's kind of the same. But in the winter time, it's probably very hard to get the amount of proper sunlight during the day. And I think some people, like in the north of Norway, they have these daylight lights just to trigger the body into that response. Do we have a cache for this? It's not in here. Ooh. That's actually true. This is nonsense. We don't have a cache here. We do not have a cache. Not to return false here if we don't have a cache. Because we never put this file in cache. That would mean that we automatically get the right thing now. Do we in copy from file prereq? No, we do make the directory. Okay, so that's probably fine. We should already have a bunch of fonts in there now. Let's see. No. Why? So getting here now? No, we don't have a cache. We have a source, which looks fine. And we have a target. Ooh. That's the issue. I used to have a rendered folder that probably now exists. It doesn't. This here is wrong. Because laser is wrong. The public path is wrong. So that's in here. There's the boot. No, we want laser boot. Laser boot. Where's my public folder? This one. This should just be this. This is fine. And we stopped having a branch. Why did it make the folder though? Wait. Did it not put it in cache? No. Why did we get... Ah, because I changed the target path. This is not wrong. Yeah, this should just be this. Now this looks correct. This is a directory? No, it's not. Oh, no, wait, is there? Should check out whether the directory exists. What is the dear name of this? Copy value, do we have that? No. Is that just file exists? Yeah. This should work now. Now we should be getting a bunch of files in here. Maybe. We don't. Why? Dear name target is this. Does not exist. Why do you think this exists? It doesn't make sense. Yeah, it's not there. Am I blind? My favorite font is Assistant. It's the one that I use all the time, at least. Oop. Get this in frame. Whoops. This one. And has very nice bold variants too. Yeah, it's a good font. I use that everywhere basically. On all my memes too. Make this black. No, black. Come on. Or this one. Okay. Yeah, I like Assistant. It's one of the Google fonts too. It's very easy to get. And also look at this here. It's trying to put assistance in here. Assistance everywhere. So why does it think that this exists? It doesn't. So X is false. Oh god. Yeah, this is PHP Storm. And if you want to check whether a directory exists, you need to do a not file exists. That's the smart move. Now we should be getting fonts, finally. Let's see. Yes. We have assets now. And that means that probably in here we should be getting a font, right? Does it? No. But it's in here. And it should be loading this thing. I guess the CSS is broken. It should be fine. And the font is there. Oh, maybe. No. Why are you falling back? Am I not using the font? Is that the issue? Oh, it doesn't have any styles, that's the issue. The thing that is missing is this CSS file. That's the problem. So, are we not... I think we're not building this. Yeah. So that means you're not parsing that in the dependency file, in the D file. Yeah, I think I know why. And I even have a note for this somewhere. Let's put this on the other desktop. I used to have this long function that dealt with in HTML resources. That I probably can't find now. But we want to, in the base plugin, when we do the template, what is it, public dependency? We should be having this one here. So in list template prereqs, if we have attributes, we're not parsing the attributes for now, but we want to. So when we have an attribute that is like this, well, a link block with an href, we kind of want to make that automatically. Also, we don't have a description in here yet. This is another error, and no title, which is why this window is just called source right now, which is bad. get that going too. But if the fragment is an attribute, and kind of if the previous fragment is a link item. So we don't have scope there. No, we don't have scope there. If the previous fragment, so stream -1, type is equal to starting an element and the name is it the name? I think it's the name. The name would be link. I think I have to pull this from the components, right? So this is an attribute, and the previous fragment somewhere is 0. Starting, yeah, I need to pull this from content. So it's 3, and elements 3 is this. So if was it name? No, it was. What was it name? No, this one. Content. Elements. Content link. So we want to go here. Description? No. You're an attribute, and you are actually fragment number 12, and the stream 11 is this. And you are what attribute? Is it name? We still need the attributes, right? I'm trying to build the dependency on the CSS file. So we have this document that you can see down here, and we managed to put the fonts that we need into the public folder by a dependency. So these are all in there now. But now we're going to reference the CSS file. So we are building a very basic front-end asset pipeline with Hypermake. And for that I need to figure out that having a link block in the HTML source means that we have a dependency on this CSS file. And for that I'm parsing through the HTML fragment stream, and I'm finding the attributes related to the link block. So that is this one here, and I want this href. So that's, I now need to find that I have this one. And this is the code that checks whether the last or the previous fragment was a link block, which means it would only work for this one, but not for this one. Which also means this would break if it's the other way around. So maybe I should do it the other way around. Maybe I should check on a node start if the next one is a link item or the one after that. So that might be a bug we need to fix later. But for now, this is fine. And then I just put it into the list of dependencies, which means it then knows to build this file, I want this attribute to be there. This CSS file to be there. But for that I need... Wait, was it the name or was it the content? Let's see. We want it to be in attributes. Yeah, attributes 3, so it's the name. So next up we want to check if attributes, and then we take the fragment name, if this is href. Was that true? Yeah. So this is an href. We want to take this and clean it up. And this is where I'm using, or where I'm trying to resurrect the old code. And what was the function called? Something with clean up. Clean up dependency. Yeah, this one. This is my old function that would take... Look at that code. God. Did I still have this function? Yeah, so we can just use this one. But there's a bunch of nonsense in here. This is also nonsense. Because this should be in proper paths now. This is the old way of doing proper GNU make resources, but we don't want to do that anymore. And we also don't want to deal with PHP code. What do you mean? I'm fine reading that. Do you mean because it's too small or because the code is just bad? Oh, this would be the content of both. Well, the one thing is the color scheme that I have here, that I've built, and I made this up like 10 years ago or something. It's supposed to be kind of loud. So there's these backgrounds. It forces you to space out the code a little more. So you can't get away with mangled code. But other than that, it's, yeah, I just have good eyesight, I guess. We still have the content here. No, it was fragment content, that's fine. So we want to clean up. How? We don't have a relative path here. So that should be default. So then we want to have the fragment content. And what we're getting. I'm just obfuscating my coding for you. So I can technically say I'm streaming all I'm doing, but nobody can read it. But I can't work either way because my IDE just dropped again. This has happened every stream now. I don't know why. Sometimes the debugger just kind of kills the IDE, I guess. It's very annoying. I don't like it. Do we have a dependency now? No. What is the value of this? This is fine. This should actually work. Why are we not cleaning up the dependency? So we have this now. And this should automatically remove the version bit of this. Oh, because it still has... no, that should come later, I think. Now we should be getting a thing. This is all fine. Yeah, now we have a public min CSS. And since it's a this here, yeah, another mistake. Drop on here. This is clean now. Don't have this. Now you have dependency. Nice. And now we just put that into the list. Where? Oh, that's probably true, right? That should be true because it's such a small number that it the float gets cast to a 0 int. Yeah, that's the type magic. With 3 equal signs, I think it would even work with 3 equal signs, right? Let's test this actually. That's true. No, okay. And what was this? What are you? Ah, yeah, right, because it takes the string, casts that to be a number, and this number is 0.0. The exponent is just so high. That's one of the things you learn after 16 years of PHP. Just floats are trying to kill you. So now I put this on the dependency list, and then we should be good to go to build the CSS file, except I think I didn't make these recipes yet. Or did I do that? This should be fine. It's the clean CSS. This is also fine. This might work. Or maybe not. Let's get the list of dependencies down here. Here. It should be fine. Why are we not getting that as a dependency? This is no framework. This is all my own code. I'm building my own engine, basically. So in a framework, everything is most of the time request-based. And I'm trying to build something that is a little more like a game engine, where you have an event loop, and the event loop builds out static HTML pages. And then there is another side to this where it's also dynamic. So if you request, or if you send a change request for an entity in, it automatically figures out to rebuild the static files or give you an incremental update on HTML. It's like a mixture of a PHP framework. No, I don't have a Git for it. It's closed source, even though you can just read it on stream. But that's not really helpful, because you can't read the code, as we just established. No, I want to make this good. So the plan is, I want to first finish this. I want to make it actually work. And then once it's working, I want to build a page that explains what it's doing and have like a closed source reference implementation of that. And either people are going to like the idea and are going to annoy me about releasing it, or they're going to be fed up with me closing the source and they will figure out that, I mean, if you look at shown this before, but so the core of this, just the laser templating, is about 4,000 lines of code. And then in the plugins, it's about 8,000 lines of code, or 9,000 lines. Although it's arguably the hypermake part is the crucial thing there. So technically you can implement what I'm doing in about 8,000 lines of PHP code. It's not really complicated stuff. And my goal is to convince people that we don't need, or the goal of the laser project is to show people that you can have everything you need without these huge asset pipelines and frameworks and everything in just a few thousand lines of code. Because the web is not complicated. Everything is super simple. And people just make it extremely complicated because they just like to pretend like what they're doing is hard. It's actually not. They're just doing it wrong. I'm trying to prove everybody wrong. That's my life. Same as it ever was. And it's built upon like almost 2 decades of frustration with people using extremely overcomplicated software and telling me that it's supposed to be that way and that you need all this complexity when you actually don't. So it's kind of it's spite-driven development. I'm just trying to spite everybody. and pull them down to my level, because I'm not a good programmer. But I'm trying to show people that if you make stuff simple, you can actually get away with being a monkey. You just have to resolve your dependencies and do it properly and not overcomplicate things. And then you can have a fun time. And yeah. So when are we building the public page? That would be the dash. No, the public page should be the same thing, right? Let's see. Yeah, this is what people don't do, you know? If you run this on any like Symfony framework project, I mean, usually the numbers that I know in the last company that I worked in, we used Symfony, and Symfony in the typical use case is like 250,000 lines of code. So right out of the gate, you're already 2 orders of magnitude, well, almost 2 orders of magnitude more code that I'm using. And then they had like a company framework on top of the Symfony framework. And the company framework was another 500,000 lines of code. So you're now at 750,000. And then you also had the actual client code, so the project code, and that ranged between 250,000 and 500,000. So typically PHP projects these days are around around 1 million lines of code. And if you look into yeah, I know, WordPress is even worse. But if you look into the source folder, so this is just the thing that I'm actually trying to build, the project, not the framework or the engine. The actual thing is 2,000 lines of HTML and like 100 lines of PHP. So it's just all templating. There's some state charts in the XML, there's some JavaScript that I haven't dealt with yet, but that will get less too in the engine. But you can build a lot of functionality with like 3,000 or 4,000 lines of just describing what you want and the engine being good. So you don't need another 500,000 lines of code on top of all this for the actual client project. And that's the power of doing things the right way. So if I have this make key item, this should now, why don't I require this? Because I haven't made this yet, right? And this is also all the stuff that I'm doing here. This it's kind of the same as GNU make, but I'm just running it in an event loop and calling it hypermake. But all it's doing is resolving dependencies, and all the dependencies are just make files that say, I want to make a path.min.css. Let's make this bigger. And what do I need for that? I need Lightning CSS and another file, and that other file has a make file, and that has dependencies. And you just resolve a tree of dependencies, and the end result will then be the CSS file that you need. And that's all there is to it. And all the overcomplicated frameworks like Webpack and Vite and Gulp and Grunt and What else did we have? Can't remember them. Like every half year or every year, they're building a new Vite or Grunt or Gulp or Webpack. And all it's doing is it resolves dependencies and runs shell scripts. And that's what make is for. That's all it is for. So we're not even reinventing the wheel. It's kind of reinventing the wheel, but people have the wrong opinion about reinventing wheels because you need a lot of wheels, a lot of different wheels. But in this case, it's actually true. We are reinventing the same wheel for the same purpose all the time. And I think the issue underlying that process is that people have not figured out that the core challenge is just resolve the dependencies and run the shell scripts. And once you get that out of the way, everything else becomes a lot simpler. But all the reason why people use Vite, and I use Vite and Bun for a project because in the JavaScript world that's all you can do. And but what they've done lately is they've kind of packaged the web server part into the build pipeline or into the asset pipeline as well. So everything becomes this entangled mess that is kind of the same as the engine I'm trying to build, but it's just spaghetti coding everything into one container. It's like the Dockerification of assets or asset computation, or something like that. People don't like to understand people don't like to understand these things on a fundamental level as long as it works. They just want to make pretty websites, and they are ready to use the most colorfully over complex frameworks to get that job done. And I haven't even checked what the code base for Vite is. Hang on. What's Vite? That's probably all written in JavaScript, right? The build tool for the web. Or was it Rust? I don't actually remember. Probably a TypeScript. Vite. How much code is Vite? It's probably not that much code actually. Is there actually stuff in here? Ooh, okay. I would like to have a website that where I can just put in a GitHub repository and it tells me the lines of code that are in there. That would be nice to have. Let's copy this and let's do git clone Vite. And we probably also just want the packages, right? Packages. Okay, so it's 50,000 lines of code. So it's about an order of magnitude more code than I have. Ooh. Why do you have to rewrite your API to Python? Do you know about FrankenPHP? If you don't, you should probably check that out, because it's kind of the way that you want a PHP server to be, because it supports worker processes, and you can have you can have a request worker that keeps running. And it's pretty fast too. It's written in Go and based on Caddy. And if you don't know Caddy, I can also recommend Caddy. Because Caddy does a lot of stuff for you, not on community. Especially what it does, it takes care of all the SSL stuff for you, which is pretty good. Yeah. I mean, to a certain extent, FrankenPHP is the thing that enables me to write Laser 3.0. In Laser 2.0, I was using Nginx, and then I used Enchan, which is a WebSocket layer on top of Nginx. And the problem with Enchan is that it breaks all the time. At least it did for me. But that's how you get two-way communication. And then I just used PHP scripts running as systemd services, which I still do for the core event loop. But everything for request workers can just be Caddy, FrankenPHP, PHP worker scripts. Yeah, I held out on Caddy for a while. Somebody recommended that to me, and it's a lot better. And especially if you use FrankenPHP, you just get everything in one package. And if you have some need to do two-way communication, you can use Mercure Hop. And that's also pretty good. It just uses SSE, so server-send events, to communicate with the client. And you get a very simple pipeline to just stuff content back to the user. There's a little bit of complexity. You have to take care of the authentication stuff. So you have to issue JSON Web Tokens, which I don't like, but I have to use here. So that just takes care of, is the user allowed to open up a communications channel? But once you have that, you basically have all you need for interactive applications. That's pretty good. Do we have this in make queue yet? I don't think we do. Oh, no, I didn't make this. This is, which prereq are we on? Okay, so this is the template. This does not need a remake, and we know that. This one also doesn't need it, because you already have made it. And now the public CSS file. Okay, we need to remake this then. So why doesn't it make this? And this should, maybe we don't get a recipe for this. Let's see. Let's actually copy this. And I spent like 2 years struggling with Nginx and Enchan and could never get it to work cleanly. And you could argue that if I had the Laser 3.0 approach to it, I might have actually gotten away with it. I would just still had to do all the certificate management myself and stuff. But especially FrankenPHP just takes care of all these issues, and I think it's the way you one PHP to work. Hang on, I have to open the windows. To get some fresh air. I mean, the one thing that I still have to figure out, I've done like 80 or 90% of that, but the thing I still have to figure out is how to have multiple domains on localhost or on a server. But you just have separate caddy files for that. Yeah, right. The caddy file syntax is also a lot nicer than the Nginx conf files, which are usually a pain to deal with, at least in my experience. I have a recipe now. Huh. So why do I not have prerequisites then? This is fine. This is fine. No, this should just be in there. What else are we making now? This is still wrong. We don't have this one. We don't have a clean CSS whitelist because this path is wrong. Yeah, this one is wrong. And the whitelist, ooh, that's bad. I need to refactor that. Yeah. I'm assuming that you, at your job, they are just stuck in the Python ecosystem. Yeah, but for if you have your own stuff and you want to enjoy working on it, Caddy is a much better option, and especially FrankenPHP with Caddy is a better option than dealing with Nginx yourself. I mean, Nginx was already a very... I remember when I switched from Apache to Nginx, and that was a good day too. But Caddy just... you're going to make about the same leap of enjoying your programming from Nginx to Caddy that you had going from Apache to Nginx. I don't want this here. Oh, you're a teacher. Ooh. You could teach your pupils Caddy then. But you probably have a curriculum that requires you to deal with these other things, right? Yeah. I guess then you're screwed. Let's do a function for this. Make whitelist, and then we copy the code in there. It's mostly static stuff here. But we want this in here. Pull up the globals. Some bad stuff in there. And then we want to put this into the cache, so this has a target. Wait, where is this path? This is wrong. And why? This is correct. We need this down here. Do we want to implode it? Or do we want to keep it as this? Why would I want to implode it? What am I using this for? So in the clean CSS, should be this one. Where am I using the whitelist? Okay, so it's this one. Ah, okay. So that means we want to just get this from cache. So we just change this here. You are now a JSON file. See how easy this is? You're just a JSON file. And this is a JSON file. And then we make this, we just don't do this. Right. And then in the clean CSS, we are not getting, well, this is fine. Then we just do this, because it's now a JSON file. I don't like this here. Oh no, we have more CSS files or SCSS files. What I'm doing here is I'm taking, so in the project, in the source folder, I have assets and I have a public SCSS file. And this imports other CSS files. And it resolves, and so it does the right thing. It parses the file, takes the imports, makes a dependency list out of all the things that it's including, and then it just concatenates them all into one single SCSS file, and then I run that through these SCSS compiler. So the CSS depend is this one here. I'm reading in the CSS file, and this just matches with the regex or the other SCSS files and builds a list of dependencies. And this is probably actually wrong. Is it? What? Yeah, this is also dealing with, you might not just have SCSS files as imports, but you might have other files that are like font files, for instance. These are not dependencies to build the file, but the output will eventually require you to also have these files present. And one of the things that I'm trying to keep off as long as possible is dealing with order-only prerequisites. Because that's hard. But where am I using this? CSS depend, prereqs. Yeah, I'm currently just ignoring them. But this should work actually. This should work. So now we have the whitelist. What else do we need? But why doesn't this have dependencies? Oh, the pre-clean has this. What does this do? This does nothing. What am I doing here? Do we need this? This uses D, this is the depend thing. Maybe I don't need the pre-clean. Maybe this is fine. What did I use this for? Let's look in the old code. Maybe it'll make more sense there. Pre-clean. Merge pre-clean PHP. Ugh. Oh yeah, this was going through the template files. Oh, that's a Macarena. Maybe... Yeah, I need to refactor this code to just use these streams, kind of. Ugh. So I'm probably just going to skip over that for now. Just pretend that we have this here. But am I even using this? Not really. I just need to whitelist. The pre-clean does what? And I have more prereq files. I'm even parsing PHP files in here. What I'm doing here is CSS minification. I'm figuring out all the classes and IDs and stuff, and I use those to do this here. So I kind of built my own CSS cleanup tool. And that's way old code as well. But the end result will be in an SCSS file that only has the stuff that we need for the actual HTML files. And then you can compile those. Yeah. We should be getting a little further now. Let's see. This was working. Oh, okay. We're doing something. We're not doing what we want though. Clean CSS for print. Okay. So this is failing somehow. Let's see. That's no, not this one. Let's clean the log. And then, it's doing something. Look at that. It didn't work. It brought this file. Why did it write this file? Um, yeah, why did it write this file? This should be in cache, and it should be in actual JSON. Is this made somewhere else? Yeah, but we can deal with that later. We don't even get an exit? Wait, no, fine. 13. Yeah, this is nonsense. In here, I have this now. And the path is not the path is the target. And this is unnecessary. Target. And then, yeah, maybe this will work. Ooh, why is it building them 60 times? No, look at that. Do you also have public content? That would be cool. No. Oh. This cache CSS. Okay, so the cleaning didn't work. You just have the source file where it has everything in there. All these things. Yeah, right. I'm not cleaning up the SCSS file, I'm cleaning up the resulting CSS file. That's easier. But I guess it fails. Yeah, public clean CSS fails. This one. And you do what? Clean CSS. Do I get some kind of... Ooh, no, this is the wrong log. This one. No. How come you don't put out code? And what are you trying to make? You were trying to build cache CSS, print clean CSS. That sounds fine. So do we ever get to one of these? This or this or this? We don't have a pre-clean. And this is incorrect. We probably have bad. No. Don't even have that. I thought we might have a bad thing there. This means instead of this, we now need translate the protocols. And that should give us a proper path. I think. So not this, but this, and the same thing up here. Do we now have a cache CSS? Yeah, clean. It's clean now. So now the other recipe should work. Just that the cleanup doesn't actually work. We're not doing it. Lightning CSS, that looks fine. Don't have this yet though. No, print min CSS. Look at that. But why don't we have a public min CSS? This is here. Huh. And look how fast it is. Minus a trillion milliseconds. It's going back in time. That's how fast my laser is. Do I have the cache public? Yeah, this is fine. Maybe it wasn't written yet. Maybe the next time it will work, which would be unfortunate. So we have a timing issue. No, we don't. So what? This isn't the same error. Why are you dying? So this is good. Everything else is working, and it's pretty fast too. Like, look, every single thing here is like a millisecond. Just the external commands kind of don't work. Because that's the power of not doing things that are dumb. And that's what our society could be like without bureaucracy. Sadly, we're not there yet. But imagine if politics was devoid of bureaucracy and of unnecessary interests and all that kind of stuff. Wouldn't that be fun? Let's figure out how we die though. Because we're getting to do this here. This one. And then we are dead. What am I trying to do next? Do we have... No, it doesn't get to public. That's breaking somewhere else. Why? You know you can make all these. Where's the stuff that's breaking? Maybe we have some weird race condition that fails. We did this twice, is that the issue? Why are you doing this twice? Ooh, this is also kind of... No. We only checked this later on, I think. So we need to be wherever this is. So the path is this. And now we want to be there. And either we are getting to a next recipe. No. Okay, so it is there. Something fails in here. Is it because it's like the first external job? Probably. Yeah, something in here fails. And it fails in a way that it doesn't leave a trace in the error log, which is what's extra annoying. But more likely, I just have a die function call somewhere in here and it's just breaking. Can I jump out? No. Can't jump out. Can I find this? It's not pure, it's not script, it's external. Do we invalidate the cache? We do. Then we figure out whether the file has changed. And has it changed? It hasn't changed. Ah, that's true. Yeah. I mean, there are other parts of the Windows ecosystem that are a lot better for development, like game development is something that you don't want to do on Mac OS, and kind of not on Linux as well. But for all the web stuff, Mac or Linux is definitely the way to go. And this is a pain that I actually have in my day job portion of the day, because I have to compile a desktop app built on Tori with a Svelte single-page application kind of merged in. And I think I told this story where I spent a week trying to debug file permission issues on Windows. And it was a pain. It's ridiculous. So I'm getting here. The file hasn't changed. Wait, why is it dying? Is the hook wrong? Do I get here? No, the hook is... Why is it dying on the hook? By the way, do you want to see the slimmest possible hook system? Ah, okay. Well, look at this code. This is my event system. It fits in one single page of code. This is all there is. Hang on, let me move a little bigger so they can read it. So there's a global of hooks, and it's initialized as an array. There's a hook. There's an on function where you create hooks. So if you want something to happen on a hook, you just call this function with an ID of the function that you want to call, and that gets put into this array. And then you, in the thing where you want something to happen, you call the hook function with the ID of the hook, which is in this case job done, and then it just runs the function. So in about 40 lines of code. 40 lines of code for an event system. And this is even unnecessary. This is just profiling hooks. So you could take these out, then it would be even slimmer. So if you can ignore these portions of the code, and kind of this too, or this too. All this code is necessary for hooks. Because I don't want to be WordPress. Oh. I mean, one of the reasons also that I'm building Laser is because I think there is a market for converting a lot of WordPress pages into static content. And I think there is a chance of taking existing WordPress pages and using some bits of AI magic and just parsing the output of the WordPress thing. You could translate a WordPress page into just a Laser page. Yeah, that's true. I'm just lazy and I don't have to deal with an ecosystem yet. This is why I can get away with overly descriptive global variables. But maybe I will never release this code. Maybe. Oh wait, I need this still. Can you see this here? Why is it doing that? Why is it hiding? Software is so broken, man. So why are you failing? The nice hook system that I just showed you doesn't work. Yeah, that is true. But you also don't have all the Conway's Law issues, so that's kind of good. Okay, so I have a bunch of these in here. Is the hook itself failing? Oh yeah, look at that. It literally is a die command. We don't want that. We don't want to die here. I laid out a trap for myself and then I ran into it. Like a month later or something. You can probably still find the stream where I'm building this code here. What we actually want to do is we want to echo out to do and then just do this. We don't want to die here. But now this should just work. This should work. And now we should be getting a public CSS file. Let's see. Reload. Where's the reload? Reload. Nice. We now have a public CSS. This is nice and minified. It's just not cleaned up yet. Which is why there's so much content in there. But do we now get... Look at that. We now have CSS. Cheers. It's completely broken too, but that's a different issue. I mean, this should not be using the public CSS. This should use the secure CSS because it's a backend page. They have this in here. So it's kind of wrong that I'm building, where is the secure page? This one. This currently uses the public page. And that's dumb. So what we actually want to do is we want to have this here for the component. Where though? Where do I put this? Let's just do this, and then we just copy this in. This is also one of the things that I like to do to show people how much easier this is. Because people like their JSX and all these other templating things, and I just have HTML. and you can copy it from everywhere. Yeah, it's the same command. I just like die because it sounds like death. So this would be secure. Wait. Secure means, is that right? Yeah. I think this will work actually. Where's the public folder? Okay, like this. And I think I'm going to need to reload the caddy, the global caddy, because this is still the old page in cache. Nice. Now we have a backend. See that? Why don't I have a logo though? Because this should... Oh, this is a PNG. Ugh. I could also make this an SVG. Don't I have an SVG in here? Hang on, no, I don't. Why? I could just use the SVG. Assets, image. I also do have a logo. So I guess this doesn't work yet, huh? The asset pipeline is not functional yet. But look at all we got so much done today. It's insane. We are full steam ahead on having a full web framework. I'm so excited about this. My calm demeanor betrays my excitement. But as you've seen me a couple of times now, you can probably tell that this is about peak excitement for me. Just imagine, I mean, this is now... I haven't been at this point where stuff's actually starting to work for 2 years? About 2 years. It feels good, man. It feels pretty good. When did you get a kick of writing code? I get a kick all the time. It's just that I can't show emotions. Now, coding is the greatest thing. I mean, I also like using AI tools for coding, but mostly just because I don't like writing JavaScript. But writing code is one of the greatest things there is. Just so nice if things actually work. I mean, just building up complex systems, doing a good job, it's so satisfying. It really is. I think at some point I had a version of this where I still had the SVG in there. I guess I don't anymore. Now this is why we don't have an asset, by the way. Because we're not parsing these. We should actually be able to get that. Hang on. Let's do it. That would be in... But if you compare this stream to another stream, there is a markedly different level of excitement. Because it's just so nice to not bash your head against the wall all the time and have things actually work out. So that's good. It's good stuff. I want a template. And we had this attribute. So else if this was put a link, an image tag, and this is a source thing. I think this should already work, right? Because that's what we have in here. Yeah, isn't that the best feeling? When you spend a long time and then it works? Come on. It's the best thing. But I can go for months with very little encouragement and very little excitement. Yeah. What's this? Oh, this is pyramids. I also have pyramids in my code. Secure page. This should now work. We now have an asset with a source tag. Let's see. Do we actually build this now? Do we have a Capri logo? Look at that. Is it in here? It should be public assets images. Nice. Oh, it's the best thing. It is the best thing. And I should also try to print out the... We're just going now. I think I might be able to resurrect this from some old code here. Because I'm blanking on what I'm supposed to put in here, but this one here. I want this in here. It's source, assets, image, and then just Capri. That was simple. Does it work though? And not yet, because I need to restart this to refresh the cache. Maybe, no. Huh. This might be wrong. Do we have... Yeah, this is wrong. This should be... I need to look up the recipe. I also have a public recipe for this. I should just be able to use cache. That might work. Yes. So we don't need this logo up there, which would be in the dashboard. Did I put it in the secure page? No. I put this in the dashboard. I did put this in the yeah, this one. This one is wrong. Don't want this image to be there. And do you also see how this is compiling everything in a second? Come on. Yeah. Rage against the dying of the human light. Do you want to run away in defeat before the battle has even started? I don't think you want that. But that's probably a good way to figure out which one of your students are the NPCs. Because the player characters are the ones who are getting triggered by this. They will say, wait, no, I don't want the machines to take over. I need to do a good job now. That would be nice. I think I'm going to stop now, because we got so much done. Oh, this is so good. It's the best stuff. But I need to get back to the day job. Yeah, it is. It's the best thing. I'm actually not convinced that AI will save us. It will only save us to the extent that the AI can do my job. And I consider my job to be making things actually work and condensing them to the stuff that is actually necessary. And I haven't seen a convincing argument yet that the AI have the requisite taste to make that happen. I don't think that it's impossible, but so far it seems unlikely. So, we will see. We will see. Yeah. I will be back tomorrow morning with more of this. But now there's a day job waiting where I have to program JavaScript. And not the good kind, the bad kind. The overbearing bureaucracy kind. And you can go to sleep now, right? You can go to sleep. And I will go to work. Actual work. The stuff that earns money and stuff. So, I hope either you have a good day or you have a good sleep now. So, you too. I'll see you tomorrow. Take care. Bye bye.